Alright. Load. I almost want to load the riddle save file again so we can just have fun doing more riddles instead of horrible murder time. But okay, I guess that's what we'll jump right into. 6 bodies lay in the bloodstained dining hall. Strangely enough, as her consciousness returned bit by bit, the terrifying scene before her seemed somehow less intense. This time, Angie was able to look at the 6 corpses well enough to make out who they were. Yeah, I think this is where we stop. So who is it? First, those are my own parents. Wonderful. They're a pitiful sight, colored bright red by a bloody makeup. And lying next to them are Uncle Hideyoshi and Aunt Eva. Uncle Hideyoshi, the uncle who always says funny things and makes me laugh. And Aunt Eva, the aunt who seems to be so fond of me. Genji-san, the servant, is lying over there, and the one lying right here is Aunt Rosa. 6 people. A full 6 people had their lives taken from them and are lying in this room. Maybe I cried myself out before I fell unconscious. The scene before me was still terribly painful, but I was somehow able to look at it without losing my head. I've already felt all the sadness I could at my parents' death. The next emotion that rose up inside me was a desire to check and see that everyone else was okay. In that instant, I heard a scraping sound. Uh-oh. Just as I was about to relax again, thinking I must have imagined it, I heard the same sound again. It was probably coming from the door. Someone was clawing at the door from the outside. Of course, I had no way of knowing who it was. However, for some reason, I was sure that it was that black cat scratching at the door. The black cat was telling me to leave this room. I understood and put my hand on the doorknob. Oh, the text. Still there. You people should tell me that. Huh? I immediately noticed something odd. The door was locked. Once again, the same bad feeling I had felt after being locked in the parlor crawled up my spine. However, unlike the time in the parlor, this door unlocked itself easily when I turned the knob. I unlocked it and slowly opened the door. Beyond the door, I could see the dimly lit hallway and a cat dashing down it away from me. Then it stopped, its emerald eyes glittering in the darkness, as though it was waiting for me to follow. The hallway was dark and wrapped in an eerie silence. When the black cat saw that I was coming, it walked forward as if guiding me. I could hear nothing except the creaking of the floor, the bell of the cat, and the sound of the storm outside. The party is being held in the hall. I should be able to hear at least a little of the noise from this hallway. Maybe it got really late when I was unconscious in the dining hall. It was a reasonable conclusion. Then we finally reached the main hall. The hall was frigid and no trace of that party remained. Could all of that fun have been just an illusion? The black cat's bell rang out. When I looked up, I saw that it had its feet on the stairway to the 2nd floor, urging me to follow it. Are you going to the 2nd floor? The black cat seemed to nod, then silently went up the stairs. Guests were allowed to go wherever they wanted on the 1st floor, but the 2nd floor was Klaus's family's house, and I remembered getting in trouble for trying to go up there. However, at that moment, I couldn't think of any options other than following that cat. I walked along the dark hallway with the black cat. Eventually, we reached one of the doors. The black cat scratched at the door, then turned to look at me. It must have been telling me to open it. Okay, I'll open it for you. I put my hand on the doorknob and felt the resistance of a lock again. This door is locked. I turned around to tell the cat this, but inexplicably, a single key lay right in front of the cat. Angie picked it up and stuck it in the keyhole. As she did, she finally noticed something strange with her fingertips. Blood. Somehow Angie's fingertips had been stained red with blood. She let out a short cry and the key slipped out and fell to the ground. She finally realized, I guess the doorknob had blood on it. In the darkness she hadn't noticed before, the black cat's key, the key, was covered with blood. The emotions that had gone numb in Angie sprang back. A terrified scream rang out through the dark hallway. Even so, Angie would eventually open that door. That door led to Natsuhi's room. Natsuhi's room was a terrible mess. Blankets and sheets were torn, cosmetics and books lay all over the place, as though a typhoon had just ripped through it. It's not Resident Evil. And there were corpses. Oh, even more. And it's plural, so it's two people. Oh yeah, Klaus and Natsuhi's corpses lay sprawled on the floor. Very shortly, Angie will step into this room. She will then scream in terror once more. And it isn't limited to the dining hall in Natsuhi's room. In the stormy rose garden, Shannon's tragic corpse lies exposed. Partway down the path to the rose garden is Jessica's corpse. When Angie finds that, she'll probably dash crying and screaming into the guest house. And death awaits her inside the guest house as well. Just inside the front door is Nanjo's corpse. In the servant room nearby, Fugoda and Kumasawa lie dead. The total number of corpses is 30. A full 13 corpses are waiting for Angie. Oh, hold on, okay. They wait in the mansion in the guest house on this desolate rock Kanjima. Just who's dead so far? Not tips, characters. Dead, 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 dead. Well, leaves a few still. Oh, Rosa was dead too, right? The full 13 corpses are waiting for Angie. They wait in the mansion and the guest house on this desolate Okanjima for Angie, exposed to the wind and rain and tormented by thunder, to find them. The first twilight. Well, the music was getting pretty cool and it's already gone. The tragedy of the first twilight was discovered at 6 in the morning the following day. Goda, who had woken up to get breakfast ready. Hold on. Huh? But it says in the servant room nearby, even Goda and Kumasawa lie dead. So, I guess the first twilight is only the first six people. Yeah, I realized at the moment you typed that. What we got with Angie was probably the final number of corpses, at least at that point in time. And now we are going back to the first twilight. That's probably why it said first twilight. So at this point, it's just the first six. Goda, who had woken up to get breakfast ready, went to check on the adult siblings, who had remained in the dining hall since the previous night because of the family conference. Tell us about when you discovered the crime. The dining hall was locked up. Oh, why is it purple now? Is Goda... Is it half red, half blue? Of course there's a lock on the doors to the dining hall, but they usually remained unlocked. I guess it's just to signify that it's somehow important. Let's put it that way for now. I knocked, but there was no answer. That's when I arrived. I recommended that he try unlocking the door just in case. I'm actually going to write that down. Dining hall was locked up. Like, maybe we have to answer the question ourselves at the end. Knocked, but there was no answer. Knocked, no answer. Then Kumasawa. Okay. What else? Well, Ifa, Hide, Udo, Kiria, Rosa, Genji dead. 6 people in all were lying there covered in blood. A great tumult followed. Everyone gathered in the dining hall. Okay, great tumult. Everyone in dining hall. I hope we don't get this much purple text. I thought it was just a bit here and there. I don't want to remember it. The sight of all the sobbing children crouched over the corpses of their own parents. There was a chance they might have been alive still. Everyone was shaking them desperately. But it was no use. Each of the children confirmed the death of their own parents. Each child confirmed death of own parents. Dr. Nanjun, I confirmed that Genji-sama was dead. Man, why is it so much now? Genji dead.
Such a gruesome way to be killed. No one is going to mistakenly confirm her death, even those other than myself.
No one is going. I'm about to stop doing this because it's much more than I thought. To mistakenly confirm a death. Even non-Nanjos. Looks like all of the victims died instantly. All died instantly.
After inspecting the interior of the dining hall, we determined that all the doors and windows had been locked, making it a closed room.
Okay, just closed room. And nothing suspicious was found inside the dining hall. Of course, there was no one hiding in the dining hall either. No one hiding.
Actually, Laura's here right now. It's clear that no one is hiding.
But Dad, if that's true, it doesn't make sense. 6 people were killed and the dining hall was a closed room. How could someone have killed them and escaped? I'd rather not think of it, but perhaps the servants with their master keys are the most suspicious.
They killed the 6 and left and locked the door with their master keys. It is a logical theory.
That's absurd. Absurd?
Since there was no chance of the culprit hiding inside the dining hall, it made sense to assume that the culprit locked the door after committing the murder and exiting the room. It was only natural that the servants with their master keys would fall under suspicion, and sadly enough, none of the servants had an alibi. Then again, it wasn't only the servants. Everyone else lacked an alibi as well. Is there any way to lock up from the outside without a master key? No, there isn't. That's not enough. I'll say it with the red truth. All doors can only be locked or unlocked with a master key. Of course, it is possible to lock or unlock the doors from inside the room even without a master key. There you have it. Any other questions? Shouldn't there be keys to each individual room in addition to the master keys? Normally those would exist. Or they make the game more complicated, so I've eliminated them. Oh, I see. Red truth. We'll consider master keys to be the only keys that exist. Only MKs exist. In other words, all of the locks that appear in this game can only be locked or unlocked by master keys. That's what it means. It really is a simple game. In that case, we should now check the number of master keys and who holds them. There are 5 master keys in total. Okay. One is held by each of the 5 servants. Each one and one. The keys will be managed in a special way. The servants keep master keys on the person at all times, so it is impossible for them to be stolen, handed over, or used by any human other than themselves. Each servant can only use themselves and not lose it. What the heck? Now they're sounding less like keys and more like a fingerprinting system. That's an interesting metaphor. In other words, in the world of this game, isn't the master keys, but the 5 servants themselves that can lock or unlock doors.
We tried to retrieve Genji-san's master key, but had no luck.
To guard against trouble later on, we destroyed Genji's master key. Okay. Genji's MK is gone. I should say destroyed, otherwise I might later think that I meant to say that it has disappeared. This was the crime of the first Twilight. The scene was the locked closed room of the dining hall. None of the servants holding master keys have alibis. Then again, no one else has an alibi either. Oh, okay, second Twilight. Everyone returned to the parlor to discuss what should be done next. The phones were out, so they couldn't contact the police. Was the mysterious culprit hiding away somewhere planning to attack their next victim at this very moment? Or was the culprit in here with them, mentally sticking out their tongue and tasting their next prey? None of them had alibis, and any one of them could have been a culprit. However, that tense feeling didn't last long. By midday, everyone got tired of arguing, and they decided to take a break. Klaus and Natsuhi announced that they wanted to talk with each other alone and went up to the second floor, okay? That was the beginning, and after that everyone went their separate ways now and then, such as to head to the bathroom or gaze at the endless rain. However, no matter how much time passed, Klaus and Natsuhi were the only ones who didn't return. Calls were sent to both Klaus and Natsuhi's rooms using the extension phone line, but there was no answer. Something might have happened, and in fact it did. Everyone headed to Klaus's and Natsuhi's rooms together, and in Natsuhi's room they found Klaus and Natsuhi lying sprawled on the floor.
Madam's room was locked.
Okay. Natsuhi's room locked. I'm not gonna pay attention to typing errors now.
It's just like the dining hall.
After getting everyone's permission, I unlocked the door. Shannon unlocked the door after getting permission from everyone. Maybe it's totally unnecessary that I write this down, but I don't know. I started, now I want to finish it. Klaus and Natsuhi lay sprawled on floor inside room. Dr. Nanjo checked their pulse. Then he announced that the two of them had died instantly. Died instantly?
Correct. I confirm both of their death. There can be no doubt that they died instantly.
Confirmed both by Nanjo. No doubt. I searched all over the room looking for a clue. In the end, I found that the windows and doors had all been locked, making it a closed room. Okay, closed room. Another closed room. We servants have all have master keys, so we'll be suspected again.
But have no fear. After Madam began to suspect us, we started keeping an eye on each other.
All of us servants were together the whole time. Okay, servants together all time. All of us servants can prove an alibi for all of the other servants. Oh shit. Then how does that even work? Now that's interesting. So you're saying that this closed room is even more complete. In the case of the first closed room, no one had an alibi, so for this closed room, all of them have alibis. In this world, the servants themselves become living master keys. True. Since those servants have perfect alibis, it was impossible to lock Natsuhi's room. We decided to preserve the crime scene as it was. We put packing tape all over the outside of the doors and windows, sealing them. Oh, not the packing tape again. Put packing... Can't write. Tape over outside of doors and windows, sealing them. Oh, crime scene, I should say. I'm sure the Cobra left some sort of clue in this room. We made sure that no one would be able to enter or leave until the police arrived. Okay, I guess that's still technically the same as they just said, but sure. Sure that no one is able to enter or leave. Then we did the same to the dining hall. We also sealed the dining hall in the same way. Oh, okay. Also sealed dining hall in the same way.
We reached the conclusion that the entire mansion itself should be preserved. We also sealed the mansion itself, and all of us took refuge in the guest house.
Oh, damn. Then sealed the entire mansion. So they mean they did this to every window? I mean, I can understand that they probably did it to the main entrance. But does that mean they used lots of ladders and climbed up to every window on every floor? That would take forever, wouldn't it? Okay, I mean, if it's saying that, then I guess that's what it is. It's not like they didn't have plenty of time. They sealed the whole mansion, packing tape on all the windows. Oh, it's always the damn same thing. I start questioning something, and then I should have just pressed the key to advance. They even used a ladder for the windows on the 3rd floor. The game would get complicated otherwise, so I've simplified it. All of the windows had steel bars on them, so it's impossible to enter or leave by them. Oh, okay. All windows of mansion had steel bars on them, so impossible to enter or leave by them. Therefore, we'll say that they can seal the whole mansion by sealing the 2 doors, front one and back one. 2 doors, front one and back one sealed, equals mansion sealed. Got it, that makes it easy. What do you think? Actually, killing the 2 people in Natsuhi's room would be easy. Someone just had to knock and get them to open the door. However, they could lock it afterwards. Only the servants can lock doors, but all of the servants have alibis. Unless the servants are all in it together. More importantly, the first twilight has me suspicious. You think that not one of the 6 who died in the dining hall was actually alive and committed the crime? It's because of Erika. I can't help but be suspicious when people are examining corpses. So you think that one of the first 6 victims was alive? Yeah, and afterwards they killed Klaus and Natsuhi. Then they locked the door from the inside, hid inside the room and found a good chance to escape. That theory does make logical sense. I'll say it in red. The culprit of the first Twilight really did kill 6 people. Okay, man. I like that we get all these things in one go here, so I can even write them down. Because in the previous episodes, that has often prevented me from thinking too deeply about the murders, because the whole red information was spread out across several hours of episodes, and I certainly didn't have the time to go back and write everything down, let alone find where it was. But here we just get everything presented one after another, so I can actually write everything down for a change and actually have a look at it and think about it myself. Okay, then I'll take a shot with the blue truth. Here's the true nature of this closed room. The culprit locked the door from the inside, then hid in Natsuhi's room. But didn't we say that we wouldn't even do the whole blue against red battle? I thought you just wanted us to say who it is at the end. But okay. Then after everyone left, they found an opportunity to escape. Sure, I'll deny that in red. The group sealed the room at the same time they left. Sealed Natsuhi's room at the same time they left. No culprit joined the group as they left. Okay. Also, all of the seals in Natsuhi's room, the dining hall, and the mansion itself will not be broken. All seals will not be broken. I just wrote all seals so far. In other words, you can't use the trick where they hide under the bed and slip out later. Interesting. Nice going, Bandcastle. Thanks. This was the crime of the second Twilight. The scene was Natsuhi's room, a locked, closed room. This time all of the servants with master keys have alibis. The whole group, realizing the dangers of being inside the mansion, took shelter in the guest house.
Fourth Twilight.
All those who took refuge in the guest house decided to hole up in there until the typhoon passed. There, if everyone watched everyone else, they should be able to prevent further crimes, both from inside and outside. However, they wouldn't be able to keep it up without any breaks until the typhoon passed. Once again, their actions left the weak point open, and they were faced with yet another tragedy. Such a, playful music for people being murdered. Shannon, Chan, and Kanon went outside on an errand and still haven't come back. What do you mean on an errand? Why the hell would you even send anybody on an errand? I guess for getting food? George Nissan got upset, so we all went outside to look for them. Okay. They all went outside, huh? For errand. Come back. All went outside to look for them. We found Shannon-chan lying there in the rose garden. Oh, poor Shannon-chan. I prayed she was still alive, however I was forced to acknowledge that she was dead. Found dead Shannon in the rose garden.
Of course, I also examined her and confirmed her death.
Sandra examined, confirmed death. Yeah, but can we believe you?
When the two of them left, we were busy checking the locks around the guest house, so not one of us has an alibi.
No one has an alibi. We're gonna write that in all caps.
Me kill her? How could I have killed her?
That's right. George Nissan couldn't kill her. Later on, we learned that George Nissan alone had an alibi. At the very least, George Nissan couldn't possibly have killed Shannon, okay? At least. But so then why did I even write down that no one had an alibi if this suddenly contradicts that? But okay, I guess I can still, yeah. So at least George couldn't have killed Shannon. To turn it around, anyone other than George could have killed her. Yeah, I don't need to write that down because that's basically the same thing.
To prevent the culprit from using it for any mischief, we destroyed the master key Shannon had on the
spot. Okay, Shannon's MK destroyed. At the time Shannon is killed, Kanon goes missing forever. From now on, Kanon is treated as being killed. Yeah, because they're the same person. Kanon treated as killed too. Also, Kanon's master key is treated as being destroyed. Okay. That makes sense. Well, I thought it'd be rude, so I kept quiet about it. But that's what happens when Shannon dies. In other words, we can interpret this as Shannon and Kanon being killed at the same time, even though we're missing a corpse. That's right. Looks like the crimes are moving along. This was the crime of the fourth Twilight. The scene was the Rose Garden. There were no locks or doors. It wasn't a closed room. So the master keys were no longer a factor. Then the pace of the crimes began to accelerate. The fifth Twilight and the sixth Twilight. Everyone took shelter in the guest house. They carefully sealed all doors and windows, locking themselves in the closed room. However, several closed room murders had already occurred. Could locking themselves in the closed room do anything more than invite another tragedy? Could say that they sealed themselves in the guest house, even though he didn't say that in purple. After arguing fiercely in the cousin room about finding the culprit, they decided that they should double-check Nanjo, Kumasawa, and Goda's testimony. And there they learned that a tragedy had occurred once more.
In both Goda-san's and Kumasawa-san's cases, such wounds would have resulted in instant death, I believe.
Okay, Goda and Kumasawa, instant death. Where did they find them? Doesn't say so, does it? Just says they decided they should double check their testimony. Such a gruesome way to die. Like hell they could survive with wounds like this. Goda-san and Kumasawa-san are both dead. Well, we have been busy keeping a lookout and locking up on all that. Once again, none of us has an alibi. No one alibi, okay? That's not true. Look, if they were killed in that way, the culprit would definitely have gotten blood splashed on themselves. But Dr. Nanjo and all of the cousins had no blood split on them. All of us, in other words, the four cousins and Dr. Nanjo couldn't have killed Goda-san or Kumasawa-san, okay? No one had blood splatter, so four cousins and Dr. Nanjo couldn't have killed Goda or Kumasawa. In that case, it's clear that the culprit is someone other than us. I guess that someone might have snuck in, so I checked around. The guest house was still completely locked up.
Perhaps the culprit is master key after all.
That's impossible. No master keys exist anymore, except the two keys and the two people who lie dead here. Okay, since the two master keys that exist are here inside the guest house, that makes this guest house a perfect closed room. So the only two master keys left were on Goda and Kumasawa. Well, since someone's dead, it obviously wasn't perfect. This was the crime of the fifth and sixth Twilights. The scene was the closed room known as the guest house. Goda's and Kumasawa's master keys were also destroyed, meaning that all master keys have now been lost. Now, no one can break into the closed room guest house. At least that should have been the case. Seventh Twilight. This time, Dr. Nanjo was killed. He died in the entrance hall of the guest house. It was far too foolish of him to come here alone to check that everything was locked. He's dead. So, where was he killed? Entrance hall of the guest house. Okay. Oops, oh, sorry. Entrance hall of guest house. He's been killed. Been killed. Even though I can say for sure that this was an instant death. Again, with the instant death. Everything is locked up perfectly. How did it happen if this is a closed room? That means the culprit is one of us. Impossible. Judging by the circumstances, Maria Bella, George Nissan, and I all couldn't have killed Dr. Nanjo.
Hmm.
In the first place, no one could kill Dr. Nanjo inside the guest house. That's true. And now look at this. Simply put, this is proof that Dr. Nanjo didn't leave the guest house. That means no one could kill Dr. Nanjo, right? Is it like the pecking tape or something? So how was he killed? Or like that everything was locked? No one could answer that innocent question. This was the seventh twilight. Once again, the crime scene was the closed room known as the guest house. Various bits of evidence made this crime scene even more impossible. Then the tragedy reached the eighth twilight, the final one. Okay. By now, it was clear that holding up wouldn't keep them safe. Jessica might have chosen anger as a way to numb her fear. She flew out of the guest house in a rage, searching for the culprit that surely hid somewhere outside. George, Bella, and Maria hurriedly chased after her. Then outside the building, they found Jessica lying on the ground. It was, as anyone could tell at a glance, a gruesome corpse. Poor Jessica Chan. She probably died instantly again. So Jessica left the guest house in anger, and then was found dead. Instant death. There's no way anyone could live through this. Okay, so certain death. The three of us were together the whole time. George, Aniki, Maria, and I couldn't have killed Jessica. But then, who is left? Yeah, the three of us couldn't have killed Jessica. As if Maria-chan could kill someone. Maria-chan couldn't kill anyone. Thanks. George Oni-chan couldn't kill an adult. But he could kill a child or what? He could kill a kid though. Yeah. Why are you even saying that? I don't understand it at all. What the hell is going on here? This was the eighth twilight. The crime scene was outside. However, the three who chased after Jessica have alibis. George, Bella, and Maria couldn't have killed Jessica. So is there really someone hiding on this island apart from the Ushiro-miya family? This song kind of sounds like what you would play in Yakuza on the dance floor. You know the dance games in Yakuza? The curtain is lowered on this tale for now. Alright, I'm gonna save my file then before it crashes or something. That's all for my tale. It's pretty well made. If you had a full-on reader, it'd stand up well against Beato's games. I agree there. You did a good job. Well, the real work comes from taking this, reading it, and making it worthy of proper theater going. Still, I'm stumped. On the face of it, the culprit has to be some mysterious person outside the Ushiro-miya family. And that would be the same as acknowledging the existence of a witch. Well, I mean, maybe Erika just got, stranded on the island again and started murdering people. We can also suspect the existence of some accomplices aiding the culprit. By the way, what was that purple text all about? A new rule? I call them purple statements. It's a rule I made to make the story a bit easier to follow. Just think of the purple statements as important spoken statements. In other words, you might be able to ignore the spoken statements that aren't purple. Oh, but I did write down a few that are not purple as well. Oh. Well, that's nice of you. Then are the purple statements as reliable as red true? Yes. You can think of the purple statements as having the same power as red true, just in the human world, I guess. However, there's one exception. A culprit can tell lies with purple statements. Oh. Kind of feels like I wrote down everything for nothing now because I didn't write who said what. Shit. I see. To turn it around, anyone who isn't a culprit can tell lies. Purple statements. These seem to be the key to Lady Bancastle's game. Yeah, that's right. I'll explain the rules. The definition of culprit is one who murders. It is possible for a culprit to lie. It is possible for a culprit to lie even before committing murder. Characters who are not culprits only speak the truth. Characters who are not culprits may not cooperate with a culprit. It says it is possible for a culprit to lie, not the culprit. That kind of makes me already wonder if there's more than one person, especially because it also says characters who are not culprits may not cooperate with a culprit. That means characters who are culprits may cooperate with a culprit. A culprit must carry out all murders directly by their own hands. Does that include firing of guns? I suppose it does. I think it just means that there shouldn't be any trap. Like, they couldn't just put a claymore mine on the ground and wait for somebody to walk onto it. A culprit must not die. A culprit must be among the characters appearing in the story. Okay, so no Erica. Purple statements are as absolute as red truth. However, the culprit alone may lie with purple statements. That's all. The definition of culprit is one who murders. Makes sense. It is possible for a culprit to lie. That seems reasonable enough too. It is possible for a culprit to lie even before committing murder. Well, no surprises there. Characters who are not culprits only speak the truth. How convenient. Characters who are not culprits may not cooperate with the culprit, right? So the culprit can't make accomplices tell lies to match their version of events. Damn, my guess was that someone manufactured an alibi to cover for the culprit, but... Oh, too bad. A culprit must carry out all murders directly by their own hands. In other words, there are no remote or indirect methods of murder like traps, I see. The culprit must not die. In other words, they can commit murder from a closed room, then commit suicide inside it. Doesn't that also mean that dead people can be culprits? Yeah, doesn't that mean that... I mean, we only had, like, what, 4 people at the end? George, Maria, Battler, and, was it only the 3 at the end? I guess. Then I was about to say then it had to be George, but Maria said that George couldn't kill an adult. Unless it was Maria and George together, they could just both lie. Doesn't that also mean that dead people can be culprits? I wouldn't rule that. I'm not sure. I mean, okay, it says the culprit cannot die, so I guess... That's a simple yet vital piece of information. The culprit must be among the characters appearing in the story, so this isn't about some mysterious stranger who snuck onto the island. The appearing characters are the same old 17 people after Kinzo's removed. No one else appears in the story, so no one else matters. Purple statements are as absolute as red truth. However, the culprit alone may lie with purple statements. Now here's the troublesome one. It might be the heart of this game. Does that cover all of this game's basic rules? Besides that, I guess there's only the reader will tell no lies. In other words, outside of spoken statements, there are no lies in the narration. Okay. Well, then I'm relieved, because I think I wrote down a bit of the narration here and there. Plus, if that wasn't lying anyway, then okay. I could have added that stuff if I wanted, but it'd be a pain and make things complicated. So you willingly abandoned a witch's privileges. You seem quite confident. She probably plans to win despite that. That's all from me. I don't intend to give you any more hints or answer any more questions. As the observer, I'll proclaim this once again. I guarantee that it's possible to pinpoint the culprit with this information. Okay, got it. I can't wait to get started. I can't believe the two of us are going to take on the same mystery together once more. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This is a real game between you and me. I recommend finding some paper and something to write with. That is if you really intend to fight me. If you do get completely stuck, maybe you should listen in on Battler and Beato's reasoning. We'll have those be hints for when you get absolutely stumped and can't move forward. Uh-oh, still, I'd rather fight you one-on-one. If you plan to enjoy our little duel, then try defeating me by your own power alone without relying on hints. Okay, let's enjoy ourselves, shall we? Are they actually going to make this interactive again? Enjoy this game that I've created just for you.